For 3 years, I sat in the same corner of the office. Same desk, same chair, same quiet role. Or at least, that's what everyone thought. To them, I was the IT guy. The one who fixed Wi-Fi when it went down. The one they called when their screen froze. The one who quietly showed up, solved the problem, and disappeared again. No spotlight, no recognition, just background noise. The company itself was growing fast. Too fast. From a small startup to a platform worth tens of millions in under 3 years. Investors were pouring in. New departments forming. Big titles being handed out like rewards. And with every step up, the distance between perception and reality grew wider. Because while they were building teams, I was building systems. Quietly, carefully, completely. I didn't just fix things. I designed how everything connected. Payment flows, data routing, security layers, failover systems. The kind of infrastructure no one notices until it stops working. But people don't celebrate what they don't understand. They celebrate titles, meetings, presentations, and my sister. No, not this time. This wasn't about family. This was about hierarchy. The CEO liked simple explanations. So to him, I was simple. Just make sure everything works, he told me once. I nodded, because that's exactly what I was doing. He just didn't know how much everything really meant. The jokes started small. Hey, Wi-Fi guy, can you fix my password again? Careful, don't unplug the whole company. People laughed. I smiled. Not because it was funny, but because it was useful. Because the less they saw, the more I could build without interference. 3 years of that. 3 years of being underestimated. 3 years of watching people rise based on visibility, while I stayed invisible, until the day everything shifted. It happened on a Thursday, midday, casual. Like most important mistakes are. We were all called into the main meeting room. Big table, glass walls, executives at the front. The CEO standing like he was about to announce something important. He usually did. We're restructuring leadership, he said. Of course they were. Growth demands titles. Titles demand reshuffling. And we're bringing in fresh energy, he added. That was my first signal. Fresh energy usually means someone already chosen. Then the door opened, and in walked his nephew. Young, confident, new suit. The kind of confidence that comes from being introduced, not earned. This is him, the CEO said proudly. He'll be stepping into a senior operations role. Senior. Operations. Over people who had built the company. Polite applause filled the room. Expected. Controlled. Then his nephew looked around, and his eyes landed on me, sitting quietly at the end of the table. Laptop closed. Listening. Oh, you're the IT guy, right? He said with a smirk. A few people chuckled. Yeah, someone added. He keeps the Wi-Fi alive. More laughter. The nephew nodded. Good, he said. We'll need you to stay focused on that. He leaned back slightly. Relaxed. Comfortable already. Stick to the cables, he added. The room laughed again. Louder this time. Because now it was safe. Now it was approved. I didn't react. I didn't correct him. I didn't say a word. Because moments like that don't need defense. They need memory. After the meeting, things changed. Not for me. For them. Decisions started happening faster. Less technical review. More assumptions. More confidence. Less understanding. I watched it all. Quietly. Like I always did. Until Friday. My resignation was one sentence. No explanation. No emotion. Just final. The CEO called me into his office. You're leaving, he asked. Yes. Over what? That meeting. No. Then what? I looked at him. Calm. Steady. You don't need me anymore. He smiled. Relieved. That's not what I meant, but if that's how you feel, it is. He nodded, didn't argue, didn't try to keep me, because he believed it. I walked out of the building at 4:12 p.m. Same way I had walked in for years. Quiet, unnoticed. No one stopped me. No one asked questions. Because to them, nothing important had just left. But systems don't fail immediately. They drift. Then they break. Saturday passed quietly. Sunday too. And then Monday came. At 9:03 a.m., the first alert triggered. Small. Contained. Fixable. At 9:47 a.m., a second issue appeared. Connected. Subtle. But growing. By 10:26 a.m., things stopped working the way they used to. And that's when they realized something. Not everything. Just enough. Because the system they thought they understood was never what they thought it was. And the person they thought was replaceable was the only one who knew how it all held together. By 10:26 a.m., the system wasn't broken. Not exactly. It was drifting. The kind of slow failure that doesn't crash everything at once, but quietly disconnects the pieces that matter. Transactions delayed. Data syncing inconsistently. Dashboards showing numbers that didn't quite match reality. At first, no one panicked. Because early problems always look small. Just a glitch. Minor delay. Give it a few minutes. But minutes passed. And the problems didn't go away. They multiplied. By 10:41 a.m., the support team noticed something strange. Client requests were increasing. Not dramatically. Just enough to feel off. By 11:05 a.m., the first major client called. Not angry. Concerned. Something's not updating correctly. By 11:32 a.m., 3 more clients reported similar issues. Different symptoms. Same root problem. And still, no one understood what was actually happening. Because from the outside, everything looked connected. But underneath, the system was no longer aligned. At 12:10 p.m., the nephew stepped in. Confident. Calm. Performing leadership. Let's not overreact, he said. It's probably just a temporary load issue. Someone asked, should we bring in external support? He shook his head. We can handle this internally. Of course he believed that, because he didn't know what this really was. By 12:47 p.m., the delays turned into failures. Transactions didn't just slow down. They stopped processing correctly. That's when the tone changed. Voices got sharper. Messages got shorter. People stopped pretending it was small. Where's the documentation for this system? Someone asked. Silence. Because there wasn't any. Not complete. Not real. What about access logs? Incomplete. System mapping? Outdated. Because the one person who understood it all wasn't there anymore. At 1:26 p.m., the CEO called an emergency meeting. Same room. Same table. Different energy. What's going on? He asked. No one answered clearly. Because no one knew clearly. It's a structural issue, one engineer said carefully. Meaning, it's not one thing. It's how everything connects. The CEO frowned. Then fix it. Silence again. Because fixing something you don't understand isn't a task. It's a problem. At 2:03 p.m., the first investor call came in. Not angry. Not yet. But concerned enough to ask questions. By 2:40 p.m., more followed. Because patterns spread faster than explanations. The nephew tried to maintain control. We're stabilizing it, he said. But even he could hear it. The doubt. The uncertainty. At 3:18 p.m., someone finally said it. Quietly. But clearly. We should call him. The room went still. Because everyone knew who him was. The CEO didn't respond immediately. Because admitting that means admitting something else. At 3:27 p.m., another system failed. Not loudly, but significantly enough that it couldn't be ignored. That's when he made the call. My phone buzzed. I looked at the screen. Let it ring once. then answered. "We need you," he said. No introduction, no tone, just truth. "What's happening?" I asked calmly. "You know what's happening." I did. Of course I did. "The system isn't holding together," he continued. "We can't trace the connections. Nothing is responding the way it should." I leaned back slightly, watched the sky outside shift into late afternoon. "And?" I asked. "We need you to come back." There it was. The same company, the same voice, the same person who just days ago believed I wasn't necessary. "I don't work there anymore," I said. "We can fix that." I paused, not to think, but to let him hear the silence. "You already made your decision," I replied. He exhaled. Frustration now. Urgency rising. "This isn't about that," he said. "This is bigger." "Yes," I said. "It is." Another pause. Longer this time. Because now, he understood the difference. At 4:12 p.m., another investor called. This time louder. This time less patient. At 4:36 p.m., internal systems began shutting down processes to prevent further errors. Not a collapse, but close enough to feel like one. At 5:02 p.m., everything slowed. Not stopped. Not crashed. Just slowed enough that the business couldn't function the way it needed to. And that's when it hit them. Fully. Not as a technical issue. Not as a temporary problem. But as a realization. They didn't lose a system. They lost the only person who knew how it worked. My phone buzzed again. More calls. Different numbers. Investors this time. Not asking about the company. Asking about me. Because in the end, people don't invest in systems. They invest in certainty. And the only certainty left wasn't inside that building anymore. I didn't rush. I didn't react. I didn't celebrate. Because this was never about revenge. It was about something much simpler. They underestimated the quiet person in the corner. The one who just fixed the Wi-Fi. The one who never spoke up. The one they thought they understood. But the truth was, I wasn't maintaining their system. I was holding it together. And the moment I walked away, so did everything they thought was stable. By sunset, they weren't dealing with a problem. They were facing a reality. And by the time they fully understood it, it was already too late.